Hi, welcome to the video Deploy Spring Boot app with MySQL Database to Heroku. I am Nam Haming from CodeJava.net. In this video, you will learn how to deploy a Java web application based on Spring Boot with MySQL Database to Heroku using Git and Heroku CLI interface or Heroku CLI. I suppose that you have a Heroku account and this software programs installed on your computer. Heroku CLI, Git, Maven optional, MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench. Let me show you an existing project, a Java Maven project you see in Eclipse IDE. So I have the Maven project file pom.xml here. You see this project is for a web application based on Spring Framework. So you can see the Spring Boot starter parent here, and Java version is 1.8, and the dependencies are Spring Boot starter, data JPA, web template, web JAS for Bootstrap, and MySQL connector Java. That means this Java web application requires a MySQL database. And in the project code, you can see the main class here. It is a Spring Boot application, you see. And this is a Spring application properties file, the configuration file, you see. So you see it is configured to be running on in an embedded Tomcat server, listening on port 8080, context path / code Java, and you can see the data source information, data source URL here, username and password here. That means this application requires a MySQL database with the database schema name is userdb. And you can see in the templates directory it is HTML mixed with template code, you see. And the entity class user here, user repository here, user service, controller. Okay, so this is a very basic Spring Boot application with MySQL database using Spring Data API with Hibernate framework. Okay, now let me run this Spring Boot application on my local computer. So I run this main class as a Java application, run as a Java application. Okay, you see it is starting a Spring Boot application. Okay, you see Tomcat started on port 8080 with context path / code Java. So I can access this Spring Boot application in a web browser in Chrome like this: http localhost port number 8080 and context path is / code Java. And you see this is the home page of the application, manage users. And you see this is a users listing page that displays all the users from a MySQL database. And in MySQL Workbench, I have the database users DB here with only one table users, and the rows in this table here you see. And in the next few minutes, I will show you how to deploy this Spring Boot application onto Heroku Cloud Platform. For now, I stop this application. Okay, it is shut down. You know, Heroku supports PostgreSQL by default. So to use MySQL database, we need to use an add-on such as ClearDB add-on for MySQL. And to attach an add-on to an app, your Heroku account must be verified. That means you must enter payment card information to verify your Heroku account. Let me explain the process of deploying a Spring Boot application with MySQL database to Heroku Cloud Platform. So from the project on local computer, we need to put the code to a Git local repo. And on Heroku, we create a new app. This app is associated with the remote repo. And then we set the remote reference of the Git local repo to the remote repo on Heroku. And to deploy, we push the code from the local repo to the remote repo. And Heroku will build an executable jar file for our Spring Boot app. And then For the database, we need to attach the ClearDB add-on for the app, and it will create a new remote MySQL database. And from the local MySQL database, we export data to a SQL file, and then we import the SQL file to the remote MySQL database. So that's basically how to deploy a Spring Boot app with MySQL database to Heroku. Make sense? Now open the new command prompt on Windows or terminal on Mac or Linux, and firstly change the current directory to the project directory. So I have the project in app driver, projects code Java app. So you see the files of the project here. Okay, so now we need to initialize a local Git repo for this project. So type git init, and you see it initialized an empty Git repo for the project. You can see the directory .git. You see the directory.git here. That means the project is under version control by Git, and then we use a command git add dot to add all the project files to the local index. Okay, and then we commit the code to the local repo git commit dash m, and the message is commit to first deploy. Okay, the code have been committed to the local repo. Let me change the command prompt like this. Okay. Now type git remote dash v to see the remote reference of the project. So see no remote references, and then we need to log in to Heroku. So type Heroku login and press any key to open up the browser to log in. Okay, click login here. Okay, and return to the command prompt. I have signed into Heroku. And next, let's create a new app on Heroku. So type Heroku create and the app name code dash code Java app 1. You see, it has created the app named code Java app 1 on Heroku, and you see Heroku assigns the public URL to access the application here, and a remote git repo on Heroku here to push the code. And now type git remote dash v to see the remote references, and you see Heroku updates the remote references of the project to its remote repo. Here you see. And now to deploy, type git push Heroku. Heroku is a remote name here, and then the default branch name is master to push the code from local to the remote repo on Heroku for deployment. Okay, you see building source and Java app detected, installing JDK 1.8 and executing Maven. It is building the project on the remote server. It may take a while to download all the dependencies, but it is running very quickly. Okay, you see the build success, and it discovers the process type of the app is for web here, and the size of the deploy application or the size of the slug is about 88.7 megabytes, and the released version is v3, and this is a public URL of the application. Verifying deploy done. That means we have successfully deployed our Spring Boot application to Heroku. Okay, so far so good. And now type Heroku apps to verify. And you see I got the new app code Java app 1 deployed here, and type Heroku open to open the application in browser. And you see it is opening the app, and we got the error, application error here. Don't worry, I think it's because no database exists. So in the command prompt, type Heroku logs, and you see we have some logging information here. And you see this error means that no database exists. So the application could not connect to MySQL database. In the next few minutes, I will show you how to set up, how to create a new MySQL database on Heroku for this application. Okay, so that we understand that no database exists. Now let's export the database schema users DB to a SQL file. So go to menu server, data export here, and choose database schema is database users DB. Okay, and choose the option to export to a self-contained file here, and choose a path, choose a directory. So I put the SQL file to this directory, projects, yeah, code Java app. Okay, users DB, save, and click start export. Okay, export completed successfully. Then open the exported SQL file. So in command prompt, I type start dot to open the project directory, and you can see the users db.sql file here. Open it in a text editor like textpad. You see, this is actually a text file that consists of SQL statements for creating the table and inserting rows into the table. You see, it is quite simple because the database is small. And to use MySQL database for an app on Heroku, we can attach an add-on to the app. There are many add-ons on Heroku Marketplace, and in this video, I will show you how to use the ClearDB MySQL add-on. You see, this is the homepage of the ClearDB MySQL add-on. You see, is origin availability United States and Europe, and we can get started with the free plan called Ignite here. And with the free plan, we can have the maximum storage size for the database is 5 megabytes, and the maximum concurrent connections is 10 concurrent connections for the database. And to install this ClearDB MySQL add-on, we can use this command in the terminal. So switch to the command prompt and type Heroku add-ons create, and then the add-on name is ClearDB and the plan is Ignite. You see, it is installing ClearDB add-on for the code Java app 1 with the free plan. And you see it created the add-on name ClearDB regular here, and it also created a config file or environment variable called ClearDB database URL. Next, type Heroku run dash a, and the app name is code Java app 1 print, and to print the environment variables of the app code Java app 1. Okay, you see it prints the environment variables for the app here, and you can see after installing ClearDB add-on, it sets some new environment variables. Here you see JDBC database URL, Spring data source username, Spring data source URL, ClearDB database URL, JDBC database password, and JDBC database username, and Spring data source password here. That's the database connection information. And let me try to connect to the remote MySQL database server at this host name. You see the host name of the remote MySQL database here. Okay, so change the current directory to MySQL installation directory. So I change to go to C driver, cd program files, MySQL server 8.0, and the bin directory where I can execute the MySQL program MySQL.exe here. You see. So now let me connect to the remote MySQL database server. Okay, so I copy the username first. Yeah, copy username, and then type MySQL dash u and followed by the username and dash p to specify the password. So I copy the password here. Okay, and paste here, and dash h to specify the host name of the remote MySQL server here. This is a host name. Okay, so this is a command to connect to the remote MySQL database on Heroku. Enter. You see, I have connected successfully to the remote MySQL database, and I can type the command show database is here to list all the available databases in the server. Here you see we have the system database information schema and the user database Heroku. So this is a database schema of our app here. You see. And type connect to the database user database Heroku followed by a random number here. Okay, so I have connected successfully to the database schema Heroku here, and execute this select query to know the just set and collection of the database character underscore set underscore database and collection underscore database. And you see the character set of the database is UTF-8 and the collection is UTF-8 0CI. Then open the SQL file which we exported before here and update this SQL file a little bit. Firstly, we need to use the database name here. So copy the database name here. Use the remote database here. And then you can see the chassis here is UTF-8MB4 and collect is different than the values on the remote server here. So we need to replace these values by the ones on the remote server. So I use a replace function of this text editor. Okay, and I replace the chassis is UTF-8 and the collection is UTF-8 underscore 0 CI. It should match with the values here. UTF-8 is the chassis and collection is UTF-8 0 CI. Let me check. Okay. And click replace all. Close. And also update this statement. Set the chassis to only UTF-8. Replace all. Okay. And now we can import the database from local computer from this SQL file to the remote server. So I exit the MySQL remote server here and type the command here to connect and less than sign to import the SQL file from this directory projects code Java app users db MySQL. Okay, hit enter. And you see it has imported the SQL file successfully. And now we can connect to the remote MySQL database again to verify. And I connect to the database here. Okay, and type show tables. And you see we got the users table here. And I can select asterisk from users here. Sorry, select stars from users. And you see it displays the rows in the users table in the remote MySQL database. Perfect, right? So I type exit. And now we can refresh the application here. And you see we got the HTTP status for error because in the project in the Spring application properties file we use the context path is /code_java, so we need to put /code_java here. And you see the home page of the application appears. That means it has connected successfully to MySQL database, and click manage users. And you see it lists all the users in the database here. Perfect, right? And let me click add new user. Okay, let me add nam codejava.net nam mình. Okay, click save. And you see the user has been saved successfully. You see Nam Hà Minh here. I can click edit and set enable to true. Update password. Save. You see successfully. That means the application is working perfectly with MySQL database on Heroku. Do you know why we don't have to update the database connection properties in the application properties file? It's because Spring considers environment variables have higher priority than the properties in the application properties file. In our case, the environment variables set by the ClearDB add-on are Spring Data Source URL, Spring Data Source username, and Spring Data Source password. And the environment variables, if set, overrides the properties in the configuration file. That's why in the project we don't have to update the data source URL, username, and password here. Alright, so far you have learned how to deploy a Spring Boot application with MySQL database to Heroku. Let me summarize the main commands we need to use. First, to log in to Heroku from CLI, and then the command to create a new app, and the command to add changes to the Git index, and the command to commit changes to Git local repo, and the command to deploy the app via Git push, and then to install ClearDB add-on, use this command, and to import the database, use this command, and to open the app in browser, use this command, and to view the logs of the app, use this command. So I hope you found this video helpful. Please subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share this video. Thanks for watching.